I feel like there's this responsibility too for those of us who have platforms, regardless of how large or small. What are you demanding in response to that? Like, okay, yeah, happy to stand with you in this, but like I need this many black staff, these many black executives, this many black, you know?
The idea of getting as much support as possible for an it. You know, and it's not a general it, a specific it that's more likely and that becomes easier to say yes to in the smaller bite-sized pieces. It's like reforming policing.
Or defunding. The conversation's been on defund. Like, if you're gonna, you know, have this amount of money going to them, why don't you take some of those resources to really create safer communities? Like 911 shouldn't just be about calling the police, the fire department sometimes, the medic sometimes. Maybe there's a mental health responder.
The idea of completely rethinking the idea of policing, right, is wide open, right? Everybody's saying, yes, it's time to make an adjustment. And it's just, what is the adjustment? I think the idea of defund the police is properly incendiary, right? But the ideas are not as scary as the phrase sounds, right? And most people are on board for the idea of defunding and refunding and adjusting and divest to invest. Right, absolutely.
Pick your word, but like the fact that they're fine with saying defund Social Security when it's old people that like need the money, it's crazy. It's like our frames are so off. And so this is one of the other things too that like I love about talking to you. There's always like this global holistic frame that you put things in. And to me, it's like there's this opportunity to reset and really hold accountable, right? So it's like Black Lives Matter absolutely has to be the thing when dealing with police violence, but there can't be a gap when we're talking about hiring practices and boards and, you know, whether or not a vendor gets utilized or how a school's representation or what a textbook looks like. So there's this massive accountability effort that's happening. People that like, oh, that one time I put on blackface, well, let me explain myself and I'm never going to do it again. Like things that get to your point, we've been screaming about these things.
Yeah. The first basic fundamental precept that I've come to is I got to worry about me, right?
You do you, I'm going to do me.
Right. Not exactly that, but the idea I'm responsible for my words and my actions being loving and productive. In that interaction, we have to start with communication is of the utmost. Communication is everything. We either are going to be able to talk to each other and work through these things. And, you know, in war, the first thing you do is sever communications. That's because if you want to fight, you destroy someone by not having effective communication. So, you know, for me, it always comes down to being able to talk to one another calmly and clearly and develop understanding in order to be able to develop compassion, to be able to decide how we're going to move forward.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of On One with Angela Rye Masterclass. I hope that you learned some, you laughed some, and you were inspired more. And you want to know how you can do that even more? You just have to subscribe. Go to youtube.com/Angela Rye and hit subscribe. We want you to be the first to know about upcoming episodes. If there's something you want to see, if there's something you really love, or if you hated it, put that in the comments below. I hope you go easy on the hate. I'm a little sensitive.